Now we have an opportunity to hear from a researcher and a practitioner who have a lot of experience communicating with different audiences who are not researchers. I'm really excited to welcome Clare Irwin from REL Northeast and the Islands, and also Wendy Geller from the Vermont Agency of Education. Currently, Wendy is the Director of Analysis and Data Management at the Vermont Agency of Education, where she supervises a team of business analysts and statisticians to turn data into information for supporting empirically based practice and policy decision-making. She leads the analytic activities at the agency as well as plans, develops, and manages data governance, data protocols, and procedures. Wendy is one of the key partners in REL NE's Vermont Universal Pre-K Research Partnership. Welcome, Wendy. And Clare is a Senior Research Associate at EDC and the REL NE lead for the Vermont Universal Pre-K Research Partnership. In this role, Clare works in close collaboration with education stakeholders in the state of Vermont to address questions related to implementation of their universal pre-kindergarten model. She also co-directs the Partnership for Early Education Research. Clare is passionate about conducting research in collaboration with practitioners and policymakers and ensuring the work conducted is relevant to the work they do and thus able to inform the decisions they make. Both Clare and Wendy, welcome Clare, and both Clare and Wendy have a wide range of experience working with stakeholders who are not researchers, and their experiences and advice will add a lot to today's discussion. So we have some questions for them related to what we've been talking about to learn about from their experiences communicating about research. So first question, what is your process for considering your audience before making a presentation about research findings or data? Clare, do you want to go first and then we'll hear from Wendy?
Hi, sure, Dana, that sounds great. I think really my process, or just thinking about my main considerations, when I'm thinking about the audience, some folks when you had done the poll earlier had talked a lot about the dynamics of the group, and I think that's something that's so very important to keep in mind, and that's something in the work that I do that I definitely try to keep in mind. So what are their roles? How do they relate to each other? So what are the power dynamics of the group? They may wear different roles and different hats. You also may have folks who come from different audiences. So for example, in some of the work that I do with the Partnership for Early Education Research, we will have people in the room who come from early childhood education, and we'll have others who come from the K-12 realm. And some of the work we do is around, for example, English learners, where in early childhood they call them DLLs, or dual language learners, and English learners is K-12. It means very different things. So even just thinking about what's the language that I'm going to use with the audience, how might different audiences interpret the data and the information, and what might those group dynamics be, and how might that affect their interpretation and how they interact, or what they'll talk about when they're looking at the information.
Thanks. And Wendy, would you like to share your response?
Sure. Thank you so much, Dana. So I really appreciate that we are calling out how important it is to really be thinking about that audience before you are there at the front of the room. And I think I bring some kind of unique perspective to this in that I left academia to take this job, and at the time I really thought that I was very comfortable and effective at the front of a room, teaching or conferences or presentations or what have you, but what I realized is that this is a very different context. The applied environment is a pretty different animal, and so I definitely learned, arguably the hard way, that I have to be really thoughtful about the roles that the folks in my audience have, what is going to be most salient to them, and what is going to be most accessible. Because fundamentally, if what I'm trying to convey to them doesn't resonate, and it isn't something that they can make sense of readily and easily, I'm going to lose them, and I'm going to lose the value of what I'm trying to convey.